Okay, so welcome everyone to the Kitsap Community Food Co-op 2025 annual meeting. I'm David Albright. I've been on the board for I think 4 of the last 6 years with a little break in the middle, but I've been serving as the vice president for the last year. And I wanted to start with just click on here. Good to pull up there we go. I want to start with this, which you can't see very well, but there's an image of the co-op in the background. You probably remember seeing it. We used it a bunch last year, but I wanted to start with this to remind us where we were a year ago today. A year ago today, we were in a state where we almost had to close the store. Sales had declined every year since 2021, and it was getting harder and harder to pay our bills each month. So a lot of hard conversations were had with staff and supporters and the board. And the consensus we came to was that the community spirit that had existed around the store in the early years, when we had the pop-up store in the back of Sweet and Smoky Diner, and when the whole community came together to get us into the store we had today, had been lost. So we spent the early part of this year really trying to rally that community spirit back around the co-op. And so what you're seeing here was an image. We called it the This Is Your Co-op campaign that we ran. We held listening sessions. One of our board members, Greg, single-handedly called hundreds of our members to hear their concerns and tried to re-engage them. And the good news is it seems to be working. Sales are up 20% over where they were this time last year, and things are slightly more comfortable financially. But the fact still remains that if we want the co-op to be what we all hope it will become, we need to keep that community spirit alive. With a store as small as ours, 800 square feet of retail space, it's never going to become super profitable to the point where it can fund a big expansion and tons of community engagements like we all want to see, like events and classes. So if we want that stuff to happen, it has to come from us. So I just wanted to set that table with that before we dive into the agenda. So welcome, here's the agenda for today. We'll start off by introducing the new slate of board members. We'll have a store update from our store manager, Emily, then a financial report from Wendy Pond, outgoing treasurer, and a state of the co-op report from Jeff. And then we'll have time for Q&A at the end. So this is our mission statement. We start every board member by reading this aloud, so I'll just read it here. The Kitsap Community Food Cooperative connects our local community with quality food, products, and access to information that promotes a healthy future for our families and our planet. Together, we work toward a world where mutually beneficial relationships exist between producers and purchasers. And then these are the 7 cooperative principles, which every co-op you've heard of is supposed to operate based on these. So everyone from REI to your local credit union to your local food co-op is supposed to base their decisions on these principles. So number 1, we have voluntary and open membership. Number 2, we have democratic member control, which you exercise by electing the board of directors. Number 3 is we rely on members' economic participation, aka shopping. Number 4, we're autonomous and independent, so we can make our own decisions. Number 5 means that we are supposed to prioritize educating, training, and informing our community. Number 6, cooperation among cooperatives means that if another co-op needs help, we should help them out in any way we can. And we also get support from other co-ops in the same way. Number 7, concern for community just means that we aren't just focused on profits. We aren't focused on profits at all. We're focused on caring for our community. So part of the purpose of the annual meeting is to introduce our new slate of board of directors. So the top row here is all returning board members. We've got Jeff Allen, who's been serving as board president for the past few years. Got myself and Hetty Pugh. We've been co-VPs this year. Greg, who I mentioned, did all the phone calls, co-owner of Frog Soap. And James Duffy, who was instrumental in a lot of our community engagement work this year. And then on the bottom is our 4 new board members. We've got Greg Moynihan, Laura Havard, Rebecca Humphreys, Tara McGinty. And you'll notice that there's 9 names up here. We have 10 board member slots. So the elections are passed, but the board can appoint a board member to fill out the remaining term. So if anyone's interested in joining the board, there's still time. Let us know. And then a big thank you to our departing board members, all three of which are here. Wendy Pond has been amazing, helping us out a ton at the store and behind the scenes for the last 4 years. She's stepping down from her board spot, but she'll still be very involved at the store and keeping the co-op alive. Allison Loris, co-owner of Volco's Mediterranean Market, who's opening up a new location downtown soon. And Ashley Martinez, owner of Ashley's Pub, who's been our clerk for the last couple of years. And then this is just a quick recap of some of the outreach. So in addition to all the stuff I talked about earlier, we were a sponsor of the Manette Edible Garden Tour. We did the Kitsap Community Food Co-op Art Wall, which was a community art show. I think we had something like 40 original art pieces around the fruits and veggies theme that were donated to the co-op. Sow and Grow continues to grow every year. This is run by a former board member, Leslie Green, who's also runs Tiny Green Produce. And she's kept this going every year. This year we added these 3 local restaurants made dishes made with co-op sourced ingredients. And then we were part of the farmers market and also Manette Fest. Oh, and then this is, if you remember, number 7 on the, there we go. On the cooperative principles, care for community. These are some of the organizations that we partner with to fulfill that. Organizations and then Provisions and Flower are 2 programs that we offer ourselves. So then I think I'll turn it over to Emily and she will give a report on how things are going at the store level.
Just tap it.
Just tap the.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. I'm Emily. I'm the store manager. Hello. So currently we do have a really strong team of 5 part-time employees and 1 full-time. It is still small, but it's a good crew that we have right now. This year we did hire produce manager Amanda. She's been working directly with local farms. Originally, our view for her was to kind of run farmers market for us, but then we kind of made a shift. Farmers market wasn't doing for us what we needed it to do as far as income and that sort of thing. And so she's really shifted and made dramatic changes as far as we've gotten a lot of local produce in store this year. And then she just keeps our produce looking fabulous. And then we've cross-trained Heather as well. She knows ordering, receiving. She basically knows my job, which is super helpful. So when I can take time off, she fills in for me for that. And with both Heather and Amanda's big help to me, because I was, before Amanda, I was doing the produce orders and I was the one, that added on to my plate. And so with both of their help, I'm now able to spend more time analyzing sales that we receive from vendors. So I'm able to now offer sales to the customers, monthly sales, because we are receiving sales now from our vendors. It takes some time, of research and figuring out what products are on sale each month, but I have the time to do that now, which has been tremendous help. We also have a clearance table. That's not just, monthly sales. It's usually products that are on their way out or maybe don't look as pretty as the others. But that's also because we're doing regular markdowns and trying to have less waste by doing so. I'd rather get $1 for something than take a complete loss on it. So it's important to have those markdowns. And then our location does still continue to be a struggle. I have recently learned that with the size of our space, we can only make so much money. And so we are at a point where I truly believe that we can't do much more than what we're doing right now. I don't think there's opportunity to grow within our space. There's been studies on it. Most grocery stores that are under 2,000 square feet don't make it. And there's reasons for that. When I place an order, because of our lack of space in backstock, but also lack of floor space, I am ordering 1 case of each product. Big grocery stores get discounts on product because they're able to order a pallet of product. So that really limits us, and it really raises our prices. We're not, when you see our prices throughout our store, some of our prices, it's not because we're, trying to make a lot of extra money. It's truly just because we're spending a lot. And so even though our sales have increased and we're doing more, I'm also having to purchase more, but still not able to purchase at the larger quantity that we need to get discounts. It has helped, like produce, now we're starting to order 40 pounds worth of 20 pounds of potatoes at a time, and that does help. That is cheaper. So there are some ways that it's worked, but I'm just finding that I just don't see it being possible for us to make the money that we will need to grow within our space. Parking is another big issue. We hear it every day from customers. I had a gentleman come in and said, "So where can I park?" He had just like pulled over, I think in like the 15-minute zone. And I shared with him, about the 2-hour parking, and he got back in his car and then he left because I think he couldn't find a spot. And so that's an issue. Also, the area itself is troublesome sometimes. We've had some conflicts, and our staff a lot of times are there by themselves. It's just a single person running the store, and so I think there's a bit of a safety issue also at hand. But I think we're going to talk about that more as well later on. And so last fall, our produce cooler did fail beyond repair. And thanks to all of you, we raised $31,000 in donations, and we're able to purchase a brand new produce cooler, which has been amazing. It increased our produce sales by 35%, which is pretty fantastic. We're having a lot of less waste. The temperature is staying cool. It looks really nice, so it's more appealing to people. And so then along with that, with increase in general sales, we were then also able to purchase a new grab-and-go cooler, which was needed as well. We're not having to empty the water tray behind the cooler every other day. And then also able to order a new double-door backstock cooler as well, which was super nice. So thank you very much for that. That was much needed. And then, so my final thing is we still need volunteers. So like I said, we have a lot of employees who are just working by themselves. It's mostly in the evenings. And as the days get shorter, I would really love it if we could get more bodies into the store with our staff just for support. It could be stocking shelves, helping with some light cleaning duties. But most importantly, it's just to have that second body there. And so we're looking for 1 to 2 hours a week, even if it's every other week. I mean, honestly, we'll take you whenever we can get you. So spread the word. We're definitely trying to fill in volunteers. And that's it from me.
Yep.
Wendy.
Thank you, Emily. On Emily's last slide too, I'll mention at the bottom, it said, stay tuned for a volunteer reward program. That's something that we're looking into that other co-ops do that give volunteers discounts based on the amount of hours that they give to the store. So we're trying to create something like that as an incentive. So on to finances. This fiscal year, so our fiscal year runs July 1st through June 30th. It was our 6th full year of operations. Pretty amazing to look that since we opened our doors at this location in 2019, we've done over $3 million in sales. So that's pretty impressive for that tiny little space. Our average annual gross sales then are about $503,000 a year. Last year for our fiscal year, we were at 505. So just barely, not even half of a percentage of an increase. And this is just a breakdown. So our gross sales, that's our total sales at the register. And then our member discounts, which are the 10% coupon that members get and our 5% bulk discount that you get on everything, reduced that down to the 505,792 for our net sales. Most of that money goes to pay for the products we sold. So while 505, 500,000, $500,000 sounds really impressive in sales, when you have to spend 322,000 to buy the product that we're selling, it doesn't leave a lot of profit. So our gross profit of 183,000 mostly went to operations. Our budget for operational expenses, that doesn't count what we buy to sell, but that just covers payroll, utilities, all of our different subscriptions, insurance, and all of those items, utilities, is about 17,000 a month. So with a gross profit of 183, it really probably ended up that we weren't quite even break even for the last fiscal year. So our gross profit margin was 36%. That was about a 5% increase over last year, because last year was a really difficult year for us. Our discount effect is about 2.9% of sales. So that's about a 0.1% decrease over last year. So thank you to those of you who don't take your member discount. So this is just a comparison, calendar year based, not fiscal year based, of our annual sales. And you'll see that 2025 is projected to be our second highest year over 2021. 2021 was a booming year for us. I'll be honest, COVID kind of saved us, even though it hit in about early to mid 2020. By the time we ramped up and were able to get some online sales set up, the other stores were having 7, 8, and 10-day delays on getting your groceries to do the pickup or delivered, whereas we were able to, you could pick up same day that you placed your order. So 2021 ended up being a really good year thanks to that. And then you can see we just slowly started trending down. Like I said, 2024 was a very difficult year. 2025 is projected to be right back up there. However, when I go to the monthly sales comparison for 2025, you'll see that we started January and February typically are our lowest months. January came in kind of like we expected. And then all of a sudden, February, when we got our new produce cooler installed, it was installed, I believe, on January 28th. So February just kicked in and it jumped way up. I think people were excited to see the new cooler. We were out in their face a lot because of the program. And then March, April, May, all just continued to climb and it got pretty exciting. And I was thinking, all right, come June, we're going to break 50,000. I was all ready for it. And then it just kind of slowly has started dropping. Not huge amounts of drop, but enough to where it gets a little concerning. So our projection for 2025 is based on our monthly average. However, if you pull out some of those higher months, we may not quite average that high unless we have a really good rebound for fall. So our daily averages are up 20%, but the slow decline has made it a little difficult. I'm kind of a data geek. I love to really analyze numbers. So I've spent a lot of time analyzing our member sales. Our sales for this year, so far, we continue to rely heavily on our members. 57% of all our sales are from members. We got 89 new members so far this year without a membership drive. So that's pretty impressive. And if you go for maybe the last 12 months, we're well over 100, because last November alone, we got 14 new members in 1 month for not really sure why, but it was great. So we have 1,569 members. Of those members in the last year, well, since the first of the year, only 527 have shopped at all. So there's 1,042 members that have not set foot in the store this year at all, if maybe ever. It's hard to know. I could probably do a deep dive all the way back, but and of those 527 members that did shop at all, only 66 spent more than about $100 a month on average. So that's, those 66 members are 61% of our member sales and 34% of our total sales. The next 77 members spend an average of $50 to about $99 a month. So if you look at all that together, 143 members, so less than 10% of our membership, are making up almost 50% of our sales. 46% of our sales come from 143 members. So if you're one of those 143 members, you may not know if you are or not, but I want to thank you, because it's those members that make the co-op their primary grocery store. They start at the co-op. If they can't find what they need, then they go on to the next store. And that's appreciated and needed. So what can you do to help? Shop, just keep shopping. And if just 100 more people spent about $30 more per month, it would make a huge difference. So anything we can do to increase our sales ourselves, tell your friends. We definitely have the capacity to serve more customers at any moment. Leave your discount if you can. I know not everybody can. Our prices are high and we sure don't expect it. But if you financially are able, and you leave your discount, that makes a difference. And then if you can, again, I never want to guilt anybody, but if you can use cash, if you have it on you, that's another great way to help us save money. Last fiscal year, we spent over $9,000 just in merchant fees. But again, I try to use cash, but I just half the time don't have it and I don't want to wait to shop. So, and that's all. I'm going to turn it over to Jeff Allen at this point.
Thank you, Wendy. As the board president, I'm asked to kind of give a little discussion of the state of our co-op as it is today. And the reality is our co-op is a community-owned, mission-driven business. We are a business. This is not a nonprofit. It's not that we don't like a profit, but we want to generate that profit so that we can reinvest it into our store and into our community and serving our community. So with that being a community-owned and mission-driven business, it shows. Together, we've sustained the operations of this tiny little 800 square foot store. As Wendy was mentioning before, 147 members are generating nearly 50% of our sales. That means that there's a lot of other people that come into our store that are not member owners, and we want them there. We invite them there. You don't have to be a member owner to shop at our store. This member owners have put a stake into the operations and ownership of this business. And so we'll keep adapting to these challenges and keeping it local. That's our differentiating factor. Grocery business is tough. The margins are tight. It's highly competitive. And for a whole food, natural, organic oriented store, the competition is really fierce because you can literally purchase the same products that we have on our shelves at one of the big box retailers as well. So how do we differentiate ourselves? We differentiate ourselves because we're local. We serve local community. We work with local farms and producers, and we keep our profits here. So what's next for us? Recently, back on August 15th, the board met together. We've been discussing this for some time. We've had two goals for this board for quite some time. One, maintain the operations of our current little store so we don't have to close. And then two, plan our future towards opening a new store. Back on August 15th, the board passed a resolution that we will, with urgency and immediately begin the process of searching for a new location for our store that better meets our needs. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. The reality is, as Emily was just suggesting, is that our small space really does limit our financial sustainability. 800 square feet, we can max out in the store that we're in with 800 square feet of sales, somewhere around $500 a square foot in annual sales. That doesn't sustain us. Wendy mentioned that one of our largest costs is our employees. And we would love to hire more people. One of the things that we aspired when we began this co-op is that we create local jobs. But we feel that the board feels that we can't pay our staff really what they're worth. And we're so grateful for the work that they do. But the reality is we should be paying more. And to do that, we need a bigger store so that we can generate the revenue and bring that back into the community. So expanding to a larger store will strengthen our ability to serve this community, particularly supporting local agriculture, Local agriculture is taking a big hit right now. If you're not familiar with the local food production program, where the federal government provides farmers with subsidies so that they can go grow food that goes directly to our local food banks, that funding is going away. And so our local farms are really, really struggling. And this is going to be a make or break year for a number of farms here in Kitsap County. And so a vibrant store that's selling local produce can sustain local agriculture here in Kitsap County. So what's our pathway towards getting this new location? First one is to identify the site. We need something of a scale that is big enough to handle at least 3 times the size of what we're at right now. We need something that has good parking or accessible parking within the community, and it's a walking community, and it's a neighborhood fit. When we talk about a neighborhood fit, it becomes a complementary business within that community, that there are other like-minded businesses, and there's a vibrancy where then a food co-op in that community adds to the vibrancy of that neighborhood. Once we've identified a site, and we're currently working on that, we'll talk about that in our Q&A, it's securing a lease and purchasing, securing the lease. We're not in a position necessarily to purchase a property today. We're working with a local broker. We don't necessarily on the board have the expertise to negotiate those leases and get negotiate the terms that are favorable both to the landlord and to us. So we've got a volunteer broker from Manette Realty. Dustin Baker is working with us and helping us negotiate a property once we get to that spot. Then we got to plan it out. It's not as simple as picking up all the stuff that we've got in our current store and then plopping it into a new place. If we have the opportunity to expand, we need equipment. We need more refrigeration. We need a walk-in cooler. We may need to do some additional construction work on the site that we lease or identify. So we need to figure that out, and we need to plan that out. And then we need to raise the capital to do it. There's planning costs, there's moving costs. If we're going to have a store that's 3 times our current size, we have to buy products to put onto the shelves as well as coolers and other things. So we have to figure out a mechanism for raising that capital, and there's lots of different ways to do that. All of those steps lead us to that destination of a bigger, healthier, stronger, sustainable food co-op. So what we need is you to help us do this. David introduced to you our new board members and our current slate of board members, as well as our 3, I want to say departing, outgoing board members. But quite frankly, that's not enough. This is a community-owned business, and the work that I just outlined a few moments ago about planning and organizing and logistics and fundraising and all of that work, we just can't do it alone. So we've got 2 standing committees that the board works with in doing a lot of that work. First is our business development committee. That business development committee is really the taking the point and guiding the board with information about what's the most appropriate properties that we should be looking at. What are the costs that's going to be? It's really doing a lot of that planning and logistics work, and also developing business opportunities for the store itself. Second is our marketing and outreach committee. We're a little store, and it shows when we market hard. When we put things out on social media and we create events and opportunities, it shows in sales in the store. Marketing works. And so we need people to begin to work together on helping employ a marketing strategy and getting the word out about our store. So this is the call to action for you. Anyone that's listening to this presentation or here in the room, we need your help. And we would love to have your talents serving on one of our board committees to get the work that I just outlined. If you're interested, just send us a line at board@kitsapfood.coop, and we will definitely get back to you. So to wrap it up, all of the things that you've heard about the amazing people on the board, the amazing work that our staff is doing at the store, our current finances, and our plan for the future. The Kitsap Community Food Co-op has community as its middle name on purpose. And so we need you to be a part of this business that you partially own. So the most important thing that you can do is shop. Come to the store. Wendy said that 147 member owners have stopped at the store this year. What's that?
577.
Have shopped at the store this year?
Yes, 147 were 46%.
Okay, 147 or 46. So we've got almost a third of our members actually coming into the store. Sorry, thank you for correcting me. But the reality is we need more people to shop at the store. We ask you to take your shopping list. We recognize that not everything that you need on your shopping list can be found at the Kitsap Community Food Co-op, but a great many of them can be. And so we ask that you shop first at the co-op and then go find the other products that you can't find at the co-op. And our hope is that we can start bringing those other products in to be a full service grocery store for you. Round up at the register. So round up at the register, if you haven't been asked to do that lately, round up at the register supports our flower program. Flower stands for fresh, local, organic, within everyone's reach. It's an effort by the co-op to support our neighbors and families that necessarily can't afford the higher costs that we have to pay or charge for our food. And so we can help them become a member owner of the store at a discounted rate and provide those families with a perpetual 10% discount every time they shop at the store. We can do that because member owners round up to the next dollar at the register. So the next time you're at the store and the checker asks, would you like to round up? Please say yes and round up to that next dollar. Every penny helps. Third, tell people about the co-op. This is your business. You own a business. Did you guys know you own a business? You own a business. So help people be aware of it. Encourage people to stop in the co-op and encourage people to look at it and explore what we have to offer because you own it as well. We'd love to have you volunteer. As Emily said, that we need some folks to help us out in the store. If you have had a dream and an aspiration to be an employee in a food co-op, how cool could that be? Come on into the store and we'll put you to work. We'd love to have you support us. But that's not the only way that you can volunteer. We also have our marketing and business operations committees and other work that you can do. Reach out to us and we'll find ways that we can leverage your talents and interests and passion into the co-op. Come to our board meetings once a month on the third Tuesday of the month. We just changed it. On the third Tuesdays of the month at 6 o'clock. The board meets at Ashley's Pub to do our official work as a board. You, as a member owner, are fully entitled to attend and be a part of those board meetings. So we welcome you. So look out on our calendar, look out on our website or on our Facebook page when we announce those board meetings. We would love to have you there. Fourth Tuesday, we changed it. So it's now the fourth Tuesday of every month. Thank you very much. Once again, join a committee and reach out to us with questions that you have about the board. Again, I can't emphasize this enough. This is what's unique about a food co-op or any cooperatively owned business. You own it. It is your business and it is in your best interest of your business to stay involved in it, whether that's shopping, volunteering, telling other people about it. We need you. So support us. All right, with that, we're going to